When you're navigating a health issue, you want to get to the correct diagnosis. There's no point in treating something that you do not suffer from. There's only one way that can go, and that's down. So getting the right diagnosis is really, really important. I'm quite well versed in a lot of alternative healthcare approaches. And personally, I think there's a place for modern medicine. So when you've been in the world of alternative healthcare for long enough, there's a lot of people who look down their nose onto modern medicine. And likewise, if you walk around in modern medicine long enough, it's easy for people to look down their nose at alternative healthcare. Personally, I think there's a place for both. As I said, I've got a lot of alternative healthcare modalities under my belt. And at this moment in time, I work as a healthcare assistant in modern medicine in the emergency department, just to get a sense and a feel of how they approach things, and also to see the worst of the worst. By the time they get onto our ward, it's pretty bad, which is, if nothing else, it's interesting to see, interesting to experience, and it gives me way more insight than I would have ever gotten if I'd, purely stayed in my own lane, so to speak. Lately, I've had trouble swallowing. Not the swallowing itself, but at times food doesn't go all the way down, which is a bit of an issue. When it happens, it's really, really painful. And it feels as if nothing will ever go down again. I know that that's not the case, but that's what it feels like. And my GP sent me to hospital for endoscopy. I tried to bargain with him, tried, other methods of seeing what was inside. No, it needed to be an endoscopy. An endoscopy is where they put a tube down your throat and have a look in the esophagus and your stomach. They tried and failed because of my gag reflex. Then they tried a second time with sedation. And when they use sedation, they will always use some sort of sedation spray in the back of your throat. But when they use sedation through a cannula in your hand or wherever they put a cannula, you need 24 hours supervision afterwards to not do stupid things. So that was the second time they tried it, and it still didn't work for me. And then the third time they did it through my nose. And when it goes through the nose, they use a slightly thinner tube, and it's also a different route. So the gag reflex is less stimulated that way. So the third time they did get quite a lot of images, and they even took some biopsies, and I thought it was all well until at the end they said, well, there was this small patch just hiding under the esophagus inside the stomach, and we couldn't quite get to it and we couldn't quite see it, and that needs to be investigated. So I've just had a conversation with yet another doctor, one of the specialists, whether to do an operation under general anesthetic or what to do. And bless him, this particular doctor was very nice. He was also very, very confident and modest at the same time, which was interesting. He said, well, I tend to be quite good at this. And he asked if it was okay to do yet another endoscopy. Now, I could have said, no, let's wait, because the vague pictures that he could see, it didn't seem to be cancerous, it didn't seem to be bad, but he really would like to have a better look and a biopsy if at all possible. But I could have said, let's wait for, I don't know how long, before we do it again. I could choose the normal endoscopy with sedation, and he would put some extra sedation in, some extra medication. So in the end, I decided on let's try another endoscopy. And this particular endoscopy will go through the mouth. And I did warn him, so we'll see what's going to happen. I did warn him that for the past 2 times they tried that, it was no success. He is going to give me pain medication, which is a bit weird to me because I did say it didn't hurt. It was just a weird feeling and too strong a gag reflex, but it didn't hurt. That's where I am right now, waiting for this procedure to happen. I've just had it confirmed. It's going to take place in a week and a half. So I have to be nil by mouth for some time. For me, it will be longer than the stated time because I know my stomach won't be empty. It really needs more than 24 hours, for me personally, more than 24 hours to be empty, and needs to be empty, otherwise they can't see what they're doing. So that's where I am at this moment in time. Now, if you are out there and waiting for an endoscopy, I have escorted 2 patients lately to have an endoscopy done. And I don't know how they did it, but it went perfectly. No extra sedation, nothing special with the first person. The second person did get extra sedation because of what they needed to do or what they anticipated they needed to do, which in the end didn't happen, but just in case, they gave him some extra sedation. But both times it was no problem whatsoever. Unpleasant, yes, but no problem. So don't take my example as, oh, that's the way it is. It isn't. It's just me. And whatever you decide, it is your choice. So my current choice is to have yet another endoscopy. I could have chosen for general anesthetic, or I could have chosen to wait. Your case might be different. Your case, your circumstances might be different. Don't let anyone put any pressure on you to do it one way or another. You can also say, I would like to think about it. There's no need to give an answer right there, right then on the phone. You can ask to think about it. And if you feel that you are not quite capable of getting across what it is you want, it is also acceptable to ask someone for help. If you've got a family member or a good friend who can advocate for you, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. It's important that you get the care that fits your situation and fits your idea of healthcare. For me, imaging is important. It is the easiest way to see what's going on inside. And as I said before, they can take biopsies. They can, grow that in a lab or have a look at it in a lab or whatever it is they do with it in a lab and get a really good picture of what's going on inside me and then decide on what to do next. And hopefully the outcome is it's indeed just a thing that's growing there and it's fine. It's a thing and that's it. No worries about that. That's my personal hope that the outcome will be. Does that mean that from that moment on I will be able to swallow and stuff will go through straight away? No, that won't be solved by that particular outcome, but at least there's some things that can be scratched off the list and we can keep on looking for what it is instead. We might have some idea, but I haven't looked into that yet, so maybe another podcast.